Man, the way things are shifting right now in NASCAR feels huge, and real fans can feel it. Because every once in a while, somebody stops being just a cool story and starts becoming a real problem for the entire garage. That is exactly the kind of moment we are in right now. You can feel the respect changing. You can feel the tone changing. And when the biggest names in this sport start looking at someone differently, you know this is not just another early season headline. This matters because in this format, in this era, and with how hard it is to survive week after week in the Cup Series, you do not get taken seriously unless you are proving something way bigger than people expected. And right now, that is exactly what is happening. So, before we get into it, go ahead and hit like, subscribe to NASCAR Nation Report, and be part of this from the beginning. This channel is brand new, and we are trying to reach 10,000 subscribers with real NASCAR fans who actually live this sport every single week. What makes this story so wild is that Shane van Gisbergen is not supposed to be this far along this fast. And now the whole garage knows it. 2 years ago, most people in NASCAR looked at SVG like a specialist. He was the guy from New Zealand, the 3-time Australian Supercars champion, the driver with 80 wins and 3 Bathurst 1000 victories who came over, shocked everybody, won the 2023 Chicago Street Course with Trackhouse Racing in a one-off start, and instantly became one of the craziest stories the Cup Series had seen in years. That win mattered for a lot of reasons. He became the first driver in the modern era to win a Cup race on debut, since Johnny Rutherford did it about 60 years earlier. And he also became the first New Zealander ever to win a NASCAR Cup Series race. At that point, a lot of people saw it as an amazing moment, but not the beginning of a real long-term Cup threat. Then came 2024, and that year kind of reinforced the stereotype at first. SVG ran the Xfinity Series full-time with Colleague Racing, won 3 races, and all 3 of those wins came on road courses. He also made a few Cup starts on ovals, and his best Cup oval finish that season was only 26th. So the talent was obvious, but the oval learning curve was still brutal. And that is really what made people wonder whether he could ever become a complete Cup driver instead of just a road course weapon. Then 2025 started his first full-time Cup season with Trackhouse Racing. And honestly, it looked rough early. He opened the year with a 31st at Phoenix, a 34th at Las Vegas, and a 32nd at Homestead. Those are ugly results. No sugarcoating it. But then the season started changing. He ran 14th in the Coca-Cola 600. And once the series got to road courses, he was basically untouchable. He won 5 of the 6 road course races. He won Mexico City by 16.5 seconds, Watkins Glen by more than 11 seconds, and the Charlotte Roval by more than 15 seconds. That is not just winning, that is domination. He became the fastest driver to reach 5 Cup wins since Dan Gurney in 1968, and he won Rookie of the Year. But the part that probably mattered even more inside the garage was what happened quietly on the ovals. Late in the year, he started stacking top 15 oval finishes, including 14th at Richmond and 10th at Kansas. That is when the picture started changing. The road course ace label was still there, but now the foundation of an all-around Cup driver was showing up. And now you get to 2026, and this is where everything gets serious. NASCAR brought back the chase format, and that changes everything for a driver like SVG. Last year, if he won a road course, he could basically breathe, lock into the playoffs, and use the oval races as learning opportunities without every single point feeling like life or death. That safety net is gone now. It is not just win and you are in anymore. Every race matters for points. Every stage matters for points. And every oval matters even more, because the playoff stretch has no road courses to save you. On top of that, Charlotte moved from the Roval back to the oval layout, which means there is 1 less road course on the schedule and 0 road courses in the 10-race chase. If Shane van Gisbergen wants to be a real championship factor, not just a headline, he has to become good on ovals, period. And to his credit, he has not run from that at all. SVG flat out said, "I did not join this series to do road courses." That tells you everything about his mindset. He admitted he would love more road courses and not less. But he also made it clear that the real mission is getting better on ovals, and he believes that is happening. The start of 2026 has backed that up. Daytona 500 Media Day set the tone, and SVG said the goal was simple: score as many points as possible, because that is how they are going to get into the chase. Then the season opened with Daytona and Echo Park Speedway in Atlanta, both superspeedway-style races. And at Atlanta he delivered a 6th-place finish, which was his best oval result ever at that point. Think about how big that is. Last year, it took him 31 races to get his first oval top 10. This season, It took 2 races. That is not a small jump. That is real development. And people noticed immediately. Joey Logano, a 3-time Cup champion, got on the radio during Stage 2 at Atlanta and said, "The Trackhouse cars are weapons. Man, they are going to crash all of us at some point." That is funny on the surface, but it also tells you something important. The speed was there. The aggression was there. The presence was there. Teams were feeling those Trackhouse cars around them. Then came Circuit of the Americas, COTA, the first road course race of 2026. SVG had already won 5 straight Cup road course races and was chasing Jeff Gordon's record of 6 in a row. He won the Xfinity race on Saturday, then started 13th in the Cup race on Sunday, moved up to 6th by lap 7, and chased down Tyler Reddick. He did not get the win, finished second about 4 seconds back, and the streak ended there. But even without winning, that was still a massive points day. He scored 48 points and jumped 11 spots in the standings, all the way to 5th overall. That right there is why this season feels different. Even on a day where he did not win his best type of race, he still maximized it in a way that matters in the chase format. After that came Phoenix, the first real 1-mile oval test of the year, and this race was a big checkpoint. SVG spun twice off turn 4 and caused 2 cautions, which obviously is not what you want. But this is where his growth showed. He did not fold. He recovered and finished 11th, and he had 118 green flag passes, which was the 7th best number in the entire Cup field. That is not luck. That is not a strategy fluke. That is a driver working through mistakes and still showing legitimate speed and racecraft. After 4 races, he was sitting 5th in the Cup Series standings, a career high, with 2 top 10s already. For a guy people used to dismiss as just a road course ringer, that is a statement. Then you get to Las Vegas, and this is the moment that really made everybody stop and pay attention. SVG qualified 16th, ahead of both of his Trackhouse teammates. And on the very first lap, everything nearly exploded. He got caught 3 wide, made contact with Eric Jones, and the car snapped loose at high speed, coming out of the final turn. He was completely sideways, sliding between 2 lanes of traffic, and it looked like an absolutely guaranteed crash. Somehow, he held the drift, brushed Chase Briscoe's car, which actually helped straighten him back out, dropped onto the apron, and kept going. NASCAR released the in-car footage. It spread everywhere, and Clint Bowyer on the broadcast was in total disbelief. And honestly, every fan watching had the same reaction. It looked like one of those saves that should not even be possible in a Cup car at that speed. Now the bad part is that the slide damaged the front splitter underneath the car, and from there the handling was a disaster. The car kept swinging between oversteer and understeer for 266 laps. He dropped to 34th by the end of Stage 1, and eventually finished 36th, dead last. SVG even radioed, "I thought we were going to be on for a good day." That is unfortunate. So the finishing result was awful. But weirdly enough, Las Vegas may have helped his reputation anyway, because the save itself reminded everybody just how freakishly talented this guy is behind the wheel. And this is where the story becomes even more important, because the quotes from other drivers tell you exactly where the respect level is now. Denny Hamlin said at Las Vegas, "Certainly the trend is continuing, that he keeps getting better. I think that is what Justin Marks and the whole Trackhouse group was hoping for. Can he adapt to these ovals? And elite, superior drivers find a way to adapt. And he is one of those. That is a monster." Quote, Denny Hamlin is not just anybody. He is one of the smartest, most experienced voices in the garage. And for him to call SVG one of those elite superior drivers says a lot about what competitors are seeing in real time. Joey Logano gave a slightly more measured take, saying the superspeedway races and road courses are where you expect SVG to be good. And that Phoenix was still kind of messy, with all the cautions, but he still made sure to add he is doing a good job, and that he is not taking it away from him. And that matters too, because when a champion like Logano says that, he is basically acknowledging the improvement is real, even if he is not fully ready to crown him yet. Chase Elliott maybe had one of the most insightful comments of all. Elliott said he was not surprised by how much SVG's oval racing had improved, because he believes Shane has a great feel for natural balance behind the wheel. And that is a really big deal. And honestly, that might be the key to the whole thing. Some drivers can be taught technique. Some drivers can study data. But that natural balance, that feel, that instinct for what the car is doing underneath you, that is harder to teach. Chase Elliott sees that in SVG. And that says a lot. Christopher Bell gave what might be the most telling quote of the entire story. He said, "The weekend format handicaps SVG tremendously. and that if Shane had done this in an earlier era with hours of practice, he would probably be much further along already. Bell also said it is clear Shane is getting the hang of it, and that it will not be long before he is a factor on an oval. That is huge, because Bell is basically saying the current NASCAR structure may actually be slowing down how quickly SVG can unlock his full oval potential. And if that is true, that should be a little scary for the rest of the field. Then Bubba Wallace put it in the most direct way possible. He said he told Scott McLaughlin over dinner, SVG will win on an oval soon. He is good. He is really, really good. That is the kind of quote fans remember, because there is no hedging in it. Bubba is not talking about maybe someday under perfect circumstances. He is saying soon. And what I like most here is that SVG himself is not acting like he has already arrived. He has been super honest about where he is. He said he is still a long way from winning on an oval, that he would need luck to do it right now, and that he does not want to win like that. I respect that a lot, because it shows he is not interested in a fluke. He wants to earn it for real. But he also said something that should get everybody's attention. He said he can feel the improvement every single week now, that he understands what is going on much better, and that he is not out there feeling like a deer in the headlights anymore. That is a big deal, because once a talented driver stops surviving and starts understanding, that is when the jump usually comes. He also explained how much the return of the chase has changed his approach. Last year, he could afford to experiment, because a road course win could lock him in. This year, with points mattering every week, the risk-reward balance is completely different. He said he will probably drive a little more conservatively, but you still have to push, and that it is a really fine line. That is exactly the challenge. He is trying to keep learning without throwing away points, and that is not easy for any driver, especially one still adapting to a totally different racing world. The numbers back up what he is saying. SVG said they feel like an 8th to 15th place team most weeks right now, and that may not sound amazing on paper. But when you remember they were starting some of these tracks running around 30th before, that is a massive leap. Massive. So at this point, I really do not think the question is whether Shane van Gisbergen can compete on ovals anymore. That part is basically answered. He can. The real question now is how soon he turns that progress into an oval win. Because once that happens, this whole conversation changes again. And honestly, for the NASCAR Cup Series, for Trackhouse Racing, for Justin Marks, and for every veteran watching this happen in real time, that is what makes this so fascinating. This is not just a road racer hanging around. This is a world-class talent, learning one of the hardest disciplines in motorsports in public, race by race, and getting better fast enough that champions like Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, Christopher Bell, and Bubba Wallace are all openly acknowledging it. That is not hype anymore. That is the garage telling you what is coming. And for NASCAR fans, especially with the chase back, with the playoff pressure turning up, with no road courses in that 10-race postseason stretch, and with Trackhouse trying to build around a guy who is evolving this quickly, this could end up being one of the biggest stories of the entire season. Because if SVG becomes even more consistent on ovals, then suddenly, he is not just dangerous at Chicago, COTA, Watkins Glen, Mexico City, or the Charlotte Roval type of tracks. He becomes dangerous everywhere, and that is when the sport really changes around him. So yeah, this is the part where the garage is finally saying out loud what a lot of fans are starting to realize. 2. Shane van Gisbergen is not just a road course ringer anymore. He is becoming a legitimate Cup Series threat. And the scary part for everybody else is that he still looks like he is only scratching the surface. If you enjoyed this one, drop a like, leave a comment with the oval track where you think SVG gets his first Cup win, and subscribe to NASCAR Nation Report if you are the kind of fan who loves real NASCAR talk without the fake hype. This channel is brand new. We are pushing toward 10,000 subscribers. And if you want honest opinions from people who genuinely live this sport every week, you are in the right place.